Okay, you might be asking, why should I even bother? I've been experiencing this all my life, and now you're telling me that it can be resolved. First of all, is it even worth my time? The money that can be spent, and I've already spent a lot, and the trouble and the trauma, re-traumatizing. Is it worth it? Hi, my name is Gina Becker, and you may be asking these questions. I'm with Contigo Counseling and Coaching Services, and I want to let you know why it's important that you resolve your trauma. First of all, you will break the cycle, and you will not allow, or by breaking the cycle, you won't allow that to follow your children, or even your grandchildren, or maybe your nieces and nephews. So that's one reason. You can help change other people's lives by them even just observing the change in you. Okay? And personally, you will feel a whole lot better. Things will change for you in these few ways. Okay? First of all, you'll have a sense of serenity. There will be less stress, less anxiety, less confusion, and happiness. Okay? I mean, why not, right? Who does not want happiness? If you struggle with trauma, you know the confusion that comes up. All of a sudden, you feel like there's this foreboding, a hopelessness, and then there's stress, and there's nervousness, the anxiety that comes up. Okay, so that's one way, okay, that your life can improve. Okay, so another way is self-confidence. Gone will be the self-doubt or let's say it'll decrease at least. Okay, because complex trauma in particular is very, very in depth. Okay, so and it permeates every single part of your life, even minimal trauma where we're on level 1 or 2. It permeates every part of your life. But if you can resolve that little by little, you will be able to regain the confidence that you were supposed to have in the beginning, and lack of doubt. Okay, so I want you to consider how that would feel, just being able to accomplish your goals. Okay, all right, and then confusion decreases because of the confidence, and and vice versa. They work hand in hand. The confusion begins to decrease. You realize what is really happening, what did happen, and what you can do about it. And with my method, I take you back to where that trauma originated, not to re-traumatize you, not to force memories. We're not going to do that. We're going to work with what is actually already escalating, what is already manifesting, what is already causing you trouble. And we'll start there and go back into the origin where that came from. Okay? And so there'll be less confusion, and you'll be able to resolve the trauma. You'll learn the skills and tools on how to resolve this on your own. So you're not going to be in therapy forever. Unfortunately, that cuts me out, but I'd rather that you heal, and that you are successful, and that you are able to resolve this trauma. Okay? Another thing too is the chronic depression and grief will be addressed. Okay, chronic depression is often misdiagnosed. Okay, even bipolar. And we'll talk about all this. Okay, in future videos. But chronic depression oftentimes is diagnosed, and it's really grief. Oftentimes, it is important that you grieve over what you lost. Grief is not just about grieving someone who passed away. Yes, that is painful. However, when you have lost a whole lifetime, when you have lost your childhood, when you've been robbed of who you were supposed to be and what you were supposed to do, that causes a lot of grief. Not having a parent or parents that cared about you, or caretakers that cared for you, that causes a lot of grief. So you will be able to grieve and resolve the grief, the trauma of that loss, and move forward. Okay. So I want to go ahead and say that you will be able to sleep better. Yeah. The nightmares will decrease. The anxiety will decrease. You'll be able to get to sleep better and rest fully and wakefully. Okay. And so you'll be energized when you do wake and ready to start the day. And the last one, but not totally, the only, like, in other words, this is not an exhausted list, okay? But you'll have a sense of purpose, again, because you realize that you'll realize your true self. The true self gets lost in trauma. And when the true self is lost, all of these get affected, right? Does that not make sense? Okay. So you don't know who you are. I mentioned that in previous videos. You don't understand things. You kind of check out, like, what for, why. You give up. Hopelessness moves in. Okay. Confusion moves in, because if you had a caretaker who you love this person, and you're dependent on them, and they're hurting you. And then it's even more confusing, because sometimes they're hurting you, and then sometimes they are taking care of you. So it becomes very complicated, okay? And the true self gets lost, okay? So, and you could see it in other areas too. Grief changes you. Depression changes you. So there's a lot of things that happen when trauma happens, okay? The chemicals change you. I mentioned in other videos that it affects learning. It affects cognition. It affects IQ. It affects your body, and your chemistry in your body. So there's a lot that changes, and the true self again gets lost. But you will find your true self, and it's almost like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon. Have you ever studied a butterfly or the cocoon, and the caterpillar, and it just caterpillars along, and it begins to find a place to wrap itself in a cocoon, and then I mean, hopefully we don't ever have to see this, but scientists do this, and they go and they cut that open, the cocoon, and it's mush in there. So it looks like just a mess, and it's gross and it's messy, and it's miraculous. It's wondrous that a beautiful butterfly comes out of that cocoon. A beautiful butterfly with color and flight and all these characteristics that are just wondrous. I have a flower garden every year, and every year the butterflies come. And there's about 4 or 5 species, and I just love them. I just love watching them and seeing how they flutter around, and and they do what they do. Okay, but it's just beautiful, and that is pretty much what I liken recovery from childhood trauma to. So yes, you'll be able to communicate better. I talked about how communication implicitly is just a jumbled mess inside, so you can't even make sense of it inside, but you can't even explain it explicitly, what happened to you or what was going on. And with my method, we'll begin to untangle it, and that will begin to be a starting point to resolve, and a result of your resolved trauma. Okay, so communication is improved. Assertiveness. Come on, set that boundary and let those people know who are toxic, because when we are come from a toxic family, we tend to attract toxic people. Okay, and we don't know how to set that boundary. We don't even recognize it. We're actually attracted to it because it is familiar to us, but it is damaging, and it is invasive, and it lacks boundary. And so we have to set the boundary. Okay, and you will be able to be assertive enough to do that. Okay, you don't have to run and hide anymore. You don't have to change your phone number or move, or something like that. You can actually just say, hey, I am not going to be involved with your drama. Okay, and that's boundary setting. Okay, and then standing your ground. You will know who you are, so you'll be able to stand your ground. You'll be able to say, this is this, that is that, this is who I am, and you're here, I'm here, or you're there and I'm here. Okay, so standing your ground, again, knowing who you are, your true self. Okay, so relationships, because of that, relationships will improve. You'll begin to attract people who are healthier. When I was growing up, I was very suspicious of healthy people. I just didn't believe that it was possible. I thought they were fakes. They were pretending. They were, because that's what happened in my family. So I didn't get it. But a part of me realized something was real about these people. And that made me curious enough to realize I am in a toxic family. For me, as a truth seeker, I began to realize very early. Okay, and you might be one of those people. If you're not, that's okay. Whenever you realize is great. Okay, and then hope increases. Because of all that, you can see how hope would increase. Okay. All right. So if I hit a note for you, please write a comment. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe so that you can continue to learn and receive my videos. And then also hit the like button, because the algorithms that YouTube looks at will they'll look at that and they'll see that, hey, well, somebody wants to watch this. They like this content. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed talking to you. I hope that you will consider joining one of my groups, and you have a beautiful day.